Today I'm going to show you how to join 2 strands of yarn using a Russian join. My favorite way to join 2 skeins of the same yarn is to do a Russian join. It really keeps me from having to weave in extra ends, and I'm always a fan of that. And then you're going to use a tapestry needle. I'm using a metal one. I think this is a 16, size 16. You can use like these plastic ones, but if you look, you see how much, see how thinner, or how much thinner it is. I just think it makes it a little easier to use a thinner gauge needle. Alright, so you're going to go ahead and just thread your needle. Okay. And leaving about, I mean, that's what, 3 inches? You're going to go ahead and wait for the camera to focus. Okay, you're going to go ahead and you're just basically working the needle through the strand. You can see like it's sort of worked in the middle of the plot, or in the middle of the plies. This I think is 4 ply. So it doesn't have to be perfect. I mean, the goal is to get it perfect if you can, but that's probably not going to happen. So, and you may have to like just sort of twist it the opposite way of the way the yarn is actually worked together, the way it's twisted normally. And yeah, and you'll see it's sort of like bunched up back. I'm just sort of working it back with my other hand. Okay, once you have that much woven in, you're going to loop the other strand of yarn through that loop. See? And then you're going to just hold this one in your left hand, and you're basically going to take you're pulling the needle out, and see, you're going to see the like 2 strands of yarn, and then you're just going to take your finger and pull the end through. Okay. And then at this point, I usually go ahead and just take the needle off of the, or take the yarn out of the needle, and then you're just going to pull. And you can see it's sort of worked in. It's not the, I guess, it looks like you've done something to the yarn. It doesn't look like it normally does down, like they say here, where I haven't actually done anything. And this camera is taking forever to focus today. See, so here versus here, it's thicker. And so you will notice it a little bit when you work it up, but I don't think it's any worse than when you weave it in. So, all right, now you will have sometimes a little extra that's sort of hanging off, but as long as you have a decent amount that's worked in, it's no big deal. And you'll just go ahead and you're going to cut that off. Okay, and then you're going to do the exact same thing for the other side. So let's do this again. Thread the needle. Leaving about 3 inches there. You can do a little less if you want to. You will need to go ahead and pull, I mean, you don't have to, but I think it wastes less yarn just to pull the knot from the other strand closer to where your needle eye is. Alright, and then we're just doing the same thing. So you're going to insert the needle and just sort of work it in the middle of the plies. And you may have to untwist a little bit to get it to work in. Now this thread, I can tell you, is a little, it's not as, I'm sorry, this yarn is a little different than the lighter color one. You can usually tell, like, at that point, since you're basically taking it apart. And then you just keep working the extra back on the needle with your thumb. Okay. And now I'm going to go ahead and pull the needle through. And then pull that extra bit of yarn, like the extra end, or not the extra end, the end of the yarn. And then you've got your finger on basically the side that's connected to the rest of the skein of yarn, and then your other one, and then you just gently pull. You don't want to pull super hard or fast. I think it just sort of makes it go a little easier. All right, and then so you can see I have a extra little bit there. And see, and that's a Russian join. Okay, so you can see that it has, you know, it's basically just been looped. You know, you're just hooking like this. And it makes for a really strong hold. I mean, I'm pretty sure I couldn't even get it apart without cutting it at this point. So this is really, really great for when you don't want to weave in ends. And like I said, I prefer to do this type of join when I'm using the same skein. Because it's, you know, it doesn't really necessarily matter where the join is. If you're doing color work or something, you're probably going to want to do a different type of join, unless you're doing some kind of like scrap project where it doesn't really matter to you where the colors change.